Hi, this is Wesley.
This is Ka'shenia.
And we would like to welcome you to
The Underground Geek Shack.
Not video game edition.
Unfortunately, not the video game edition. For those of you who don't know, and hopefully we'll be starting it soon, we've actually started doing gameplay videos. Yeah. We've done at least 2 sessions so far.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell them what game we're playing?
We are playing Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles.
And even though this game has already been out for a while and you're surprised, like, hey, why aren't they doing a newer game? Well, we found Demon Slayer a little bit more fitting. Yeah. Especially to what we're doing. But we are planning on doing a lot more games later on in the future.
Definitely.
But
we're still working out the kinks for the audio and everything.
Listen, there's a lot we have to work out.
Yeah.
Tanjiro's personality, I don't know what is happening.
He has a split personality when it's the two of us.
We have a different way of controlling Tanjiro. But enough about that, because this isn't the video game edition.
Nope.
Hey, Wesley.
Hi.
Do you want to know something?
What would I like to know?
Wesley, you are standing very, very tall right now. Even though you're really, really tiny.
Don't underestimate me!
So, for today's episode, we're talking about an anime that I think probably doesn't get covered enough.
I think it's like a hidden gem, probably?
Almost. Well, yeah, I would say it's a hidden gem.
Yeah.
So it's called Sounds of Life.
I cannot pronounce the actual name of it.
Hold on, wait a second. I studied Japanese. I should be able to say it. Kono oto tamare. Booyah!
Damn on him!
But no, seriously, we are talking about Sounds of Life. For those of you who don't know,
this is split into. It's weird because it says it's split into 2 seasons.
It is.
Even though it feels, I'm not gonna lie, you go through season 1, you don't feel satisfied, so you have to go into season 2.
I will specifically talk about that. So our experience with it is, I've only seen season 1.
I've watched both season 1 and season 2. Right now I'm going back through season 2.
Yeah, and so far, so this is an anime that came out in 2019, and so far there's only 2 seasons of it. Apparently, Wesley's told me that there has been rumored a season 3 supposedly coming out, but we don't know.
Have no clue when it's coming out.
We don't know when it will
I also want to try and read the manga for it too. Now I gotta, oh no, I'm going back into my manga days all over again. First it was Madoka Box, I'm going on a rant here. First it was Madoka Box, now it's The Sounds of Life. Oh, I got my work cut out for me this time.
But you know, I could see it. So, we're gonna go over the general synopsis of this not this game. of this anime first, and then I'm gonna talk about my personal experience and Wesley will talk about his personal experience. Seeing as how he's actually seen seasons 1 and 2. I've started episode 1 of season 2, but that's because it's something that I'll talk about later. So I almost said Madoka Box. Darn it, Wesley.
I'm sorry. You haven't watched Madoka Box. That one's hard to find.
But for
Sounds
of Life, this is an anime about the koto.
The koto.
For those of you who don't know, the koto is a stringed instrument that's a traditional instrument in Japanese culture. I don't know any good examples of it in any other anime. Think of a guitar.
I was about to say, think of it like a guitar.
But
we have a guitar in the studio, but that's a lot of work for us to pull it out.
That's a lot. But it is a stringed instrument. It's a very large instrument. This is in no way a hand instrument.
You literally have to sit on the floor.
Yes. Traditionally, you have to sit on the floor, like on a pillow or something, and it's being held up on like wooden blocks.
Yeah.
And it's long, like extremely long.
What is it, like finger?
Yeah. You know how use guitar picks? These are koto picks, but they are like wrapped around your finger almost. So it's very interesting.
Oh yeah.
Like when I was watching this, so I don't know if you guys know this, but me and Wesley were both in band when we were in middle school. Well, I was in band middle school and high school.
Now you can continue middle school and high school.
Okay, I just wanted to double check. But none of us.
I had to think about it. I was like, wait a minute. Yep, it was middle school and high school.
But I don't know if either of us has really messed. Well, I've messed with string instruments. I've tried the guitar when I was younger because my father bought me a guitar, and I tried to teach myself the violin. So I have some experience with stringed instruments.
I've never played the violin. I know the notes to play for the violin, because playing on the clarinet, you are able to.
So I play the flute, a little bit of the piccolo, but mostly the flute.
I've only played the clarinet. Only the clarinet. But the funny thing is, I know how to play the clarinet, but then I also, composition-wise, I've been able to play just clarinet pieces, saxophone pieces, and violin pieces all on the clarinet. I'm sorry.
This is a very orchestral type of thing. Me and him did a lot of composing because we're nerds and we really like anime and video game openings. Yeah. But that's besides the point.
Trying to play Kingdom Hearts for memory.
I need to relearn. I need to do it again. But so we both have some experience with instruments, musical backgrounds. So seeing this anime was like an actual treat to me, because it's watching the growth of people who's never played the koto learning how to play the koto for the first time. It kind of reminded me of how it was when I was learning the flute. And I'm pretty sure, would you say it was probably the same?
Yeah, definitely. Like learning the clarinet for the first time was rough. Because back in middle school, we actually had to audition to learn how to play the actual instrument.
Okay.
And at first I wanted to play the flute because one of my friends knew how to play the flute. This is way before I met you.
Yeah.
And then one of my other friends was like, no, play the trombone, because he knows how to play the trombone. And so I went into the music room, and I'm sorry for this rant, but it's something I gotta say. But I went to play my band director at the time. She was like, all right, what do you want to audition for? I was like, let me try the flute. And then she looked at me, and then she gives me the flute, and she was like, all right, here. And then she's like, the bad thing was I already knew how to whistle. It's not my fault. My dad taught me how to whistle.
Oh my goodness.
And so I started trying to play the flute. I kept whistling in between, and she goes, nope. And then she goes, here, try the trombone. Couldn't make anything out of the trombone. Couldn't make any sound, any buzz out of the mouthpiece or anything. And then she was like, before you leave, I want you to try something. And I was like, all right. And then, she puts the clarinet together, and then she just holds it out, and she goes, here, try this. And I was like, what in the world is this? And she goes, just blow into the mouthpiece and see what happens. And so, I blow into the mouthpiece and everything. And then all I hear, because she's the one that's fingering all the notes. And so all I hear is just this gorgeous sound come out of the clarinet. And I was like, yo, what is this? And the way my director sat there and explained it to me, she says, think of this as your blend between a trombone and a flute. She's like, it has the higher range of a flute, but it has the lower range of a trombone. And I was like, all right, that's a cool medium. I'm sticking with this. And I'm stuck with the clarinet ever since.
But it's interesting because, it's just watching this. Just watch this entire anime. I feel like it's brought us both back to our beginning stage.
Almost like our roots.
Because actually, I have to say, when I first got into band, I do believe, yes, I was in elementary school, and the high school and the middle school came to my elementary school, and they played compositional pieces, and they're like, this is what you want to think about when you're coming to the middle school and the high school if you want to join a band and stuff like that. They do that for you.
No, not really.
Wait a second, I just realized. I forgot.
We went to two totally different.
You were also a military kid.
Yeah.
So
military
you
kid moving around a lot.
So sorry. This see, because when I saw the first 3 episodes, and it was mostly about the main character, which we need to get back into. This
I'm sorry.
I just realized
we took a detour.
So, quick synopsis. It is about the Koto, and it is about this Koto club that's at the school. It starts out as a very small thing because it's one guy, Karata. Also, I apologize, guys. This is one of those animes where I was so invested in it, but there's something special about this anime that I will talk about a little bit later, and it's one of the reasons why I don't remember all the characters' names.
I'm gonna try my best. There's a lot of characters in this show.
There's a lot of characters, but there's a reason why I haven't learned all the character names, but I'll explain that more a little bit later on. But so it centers around these 7 students. First, it's just one guy named Karata. Yep. All of his seniors upperclassmen have graduated, and they were the ones that were running the club. So he's the only one left now. He's the only solo club member, and he wants to keep the club going. Then you meet Chica, which I don't want to go into too much spoilers for those who do want to watch it.
Yeah.
But he has, like, everyone has a connection to the Koto somehow, and their reason behind playing it, and it's very much a beautiful reason. Chica joins, and it's very weird to see because he's seen as a delinquent. He's seen as somebody like, this guy can never play the Koto because
Everyone
Koto
sees him as a troublemaker.
Yeah, because the Koto is seen as a very like beautiful, delicate instrument.
The traditional.
Yes, a very traditional instrument, and the people that are joining this club, save for like 2, maybe 3, are not seen as traditional Koto players.
Yeah.
But so he joins it, and then some more delinquents, people labeled as delinquents, joins it.
Well, we also got Hozuki.
Hozuki is a Koto prodigy, and there's a whole story behind her.
Yeah.
And it's just, this show is just really amazing when it comes to its characters.
Oh yeah,
I see.
Yeah, because it's like, it's almost reminiscent of a sports anime.
Yes, I was telling him this earlier because this very much gives sports anime vibes. And another thing that's very surprising for those of you who don't know is this anime is actually classified as a shonen, which is very interesting.
Which was really surprising to me when you brought that up.
Because I feel like a lot of musical anime aren't seen as shonen. So you've seen, what is it? The ones where they're creating music on Mars. Caroline and Tuesday?
Carol and Tuesday. Yeah.
Carol and Tuesday, I'm pretty sure that's a shoujo. I'll have to recheck and I'll have to see. Your Lie in April is a shoujo. A very sad shoujo that I cannot watch at the moment.
Sad. Very sad. We've already talked about this. We ain't going down that road.
K-On! Is a shoujo. K-On! Is a shoujo.
I still have all them playlists on I still have all them songs on my playlist.
So every single musical anime that I have at least heard of has been shoujos. But this is a shonen. And it plays off as one. Like, yes, there is like a hint of romance, but it's not focused upon. This is more or less just.
The later half, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, probably the second season, the one that I haven't seen. But at least for the first season, it really does play out as a sports anime shonen, and I think that's mainly because it's focusing on the teamwork behind it. Yes, it is focusing on the music as well, but it's mostly focusing on the teamwork between the students, and I feel like that's just like the coolest part of this entire.
And it's also cool because it's like, not only is it focusing on them, but it's also focusing on them, the piece as a whole, what goes into actually making this what it's supposed to sound like.
Exactly.
In which that, in a way, makes me think back to when we were in high school, and it's like, all right, we're given this musical piece. All of us go into our different sections. We do our thing. We come back. We play. Sometimes we sound terrible. We go back, and
we always, but at least we come back.
Yeah.
But at first, we play, and it sounds terrible. Like me, you was in marching band.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Every beginning of the season, we're not our best. We are at the roughest we can be. But as the season goes on, we get better and better, and it shows that with this anime. Also, another thing I really like about this anime is it also focuses on the actual music theory and how to read the music for the Koto, which is really interesting. So it's a little bit of an educational.
Educational?
No, there's an edutainment. There it is, edutainment. Educational and entertainment. So there's a little bit of both mixed in there. And also, it's just a really good anime that I really definitely say you should go and definitely watch.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. But yeah, at least for the first season, it focuses on them starting with the Koto, the reasonings behind joining the club and learning the Koto, to them going to a music festival. So that's basically the first season. Is what this episode is mainly going to be about. Wesley's going to talk more about season 2, seeing as how he's watched both. And I have to say, I watched the first episode of season 2, and there's a reason behind that I will talk about here in a little bit. But things that we liked about the anime. I'm going to start out first with this one point.
Go ahead.
Reason why I had a hard time learning these characters' names is because the show So most people might say like, oh, that sounds like a downside. It doesn't focus on a character.
Right.
But
right.
I actually find that to be a really good thing, because the main character of this anime, I have to say, is the club itself.
Mm-hmm.
The club as a whole is one character.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's really weird to say until you actually watch this anime.
It's almost like I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, you good.
It reminds me of, I've watched a lot of sports anime, so forgive me. It reminds me of Haikyuu, where it's like, you know, Haikyuu is a sports anime, right? And so you're like, all right, it's probably going to only focus on one person. It's probably only going to focus on Hinata, who's the little small dude. And then you're just like, oh, snap. It focuses on the entire team as the character itself.
Yes.
Which is what you're saying, that for Tokusei High, which is the school that they go to, that club is our protagonist.
Yes.
Their struggles, their hardships, their victories at some points, and yeah, everything that encompasses what happens with one singular character.
It happens with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good thing I like about this, is that it also pushes the boundaries of you're only as strong as your weakest link. Mm-hmm. That is something that our band teacher has always told us, and I feel like that is also kind of like reinforced in the show.
Yeah.
And like just see that just brought back so many warm feelings. It's such a good feeling.
I will say I like the visuals that they used within the show.
Yes.
The visuals.
Explain the visuals.
So, oh god, how do I do this? So when when Hozuki first comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Hozuki comes in, and you know, so she plays the koto for the first time. The first sound that she makes, just by plucking one string, resonates with everyone in that room.
Yes.
And you're just like, by me sitting there, I'm like, what the heck am I feeling? I'm like, I'm not even in the room, and yet I feel something. And it's like her just like, if she's just playing a song, it's whether it feels like, oh snap, you're like sinking in water, or if it's just like, hey, it reminds me of the wind, and the wind just starts taking effect, you're like, what is going on?
Or towards the end when the other school, Mirio was playing the song about the 4 seasons and stuff like that.
Yeah, the 4 seasons.
And the characters could feel the actual seasons from the song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was a very, what I would say, a very beautiful representation of what music should feel like.
Right.
Because I think we could both say from experience, when we listen to music, there is a feeling behind it. It's not just a song, there is a story behind it.
There is always a story behind anything that you listen to.
And much like how Hozuki, or as Hiro likes to call her, Hosey.
Yeah.
Hosey.
We call each other nicknames now.
But when Hozuki plays it, she says that it is an extension of you.
Yeah.
I can't exactly remember, but basically what she was saying was, you play how you feel.
Yeah. And basically, like, you play how you feel, you basically give your emotions to the instrument, so then your instrument can amplify those emotions to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Which I also like the way how they described what the koto is.
Yes.
How they said that it's basically, the koto represents a dragon.
Yes.
And that the dragon basically can connect Earth
with the heavenly realms.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, that's an interesting, and it's interesting because it ties in the fact between Hozuki and Chika.
Yes.
So.
Oh my god, this is just a really great anime when it comes to theming wise. Like, everything about this anime is very much thematical.
Yeah.
I feel like. I'll talk about the downsides here shortly, but as for my positives, their characterizations are good. Like, even the club's advisor.
Oh, Mr. Takanami.
He might be separate from the club, but he still feel there's a certain story beat that's played upon towards the end of the first season that starts connecting him to the club.
Mm-hmm. And the fact of, like, he may seem harsh. Like, he seems really harsh in the first season.
Yes.
But then it's like, the one thing he always says is, I only speak what's on my mind.
Yes.
It's not like, oh, I'm just telling you this because you need to hear it. No, if I say something that's on my mind, it's something that you need to hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm like, huh. And then in a way that almost made me think back to our band director. Yeah. It's not like she always said, hey, this is da 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 da. It's not like she's like, okay, look, this is what you need to hear versus what you want to hear.
Yes.
You know, she's like, all right, here's the cold hard facts. You need to get better. You need to do this. You need to do that. Improve. And then you're just like, all right, that was a little harsh, but I needed to hear it.
But another thing that I've also kind of realized what the show does is, as the club grows more and more, these characters may start out as like individuals, but eventually they become one with the club, and that's how they get more introduced into the main character, which is the club.
Yeah.
Because a good example, and this would be like minor spoilers, but there's a character named Hiro in there, and Hiro Kurusu.
Yeah.
The only reason why I know that is because of Persona 5. We always go back to Persona 5. But so with Hiro Kurusu, she starts out with almost, there's no real antagonist to this show except for everyone's doubts towards, oh, okay, that's another point that I just thought of.
All right.
But no, so she starts out as an antagonist because she only joined the club because she wanted to sow in deceit and have everybody fall apart.
Yeah.
That, of course, fails. It fails spectacularly, and everyone just grows closer. Eventually, she also becomes one with it because then she realizes that this is something that she is missing.
Yeah.
It's just this club is just, this show is just so good because there's no one main protagonist and not one main antagonist.
And the fact, we also got to bring up the fact that about Hozuki too, because you know since I'm tying it back to Hiro.
Yeah.
And you know, so she's like, oh, you know, maybe you'll change your tune after you hear something about Hozuki. Turns out Hozuki was actually excommunicated from her family's school. Yeah.
Because like her family school, she comes from a grand master of the Koto.
Yeah.
And dear God, it's just the amount of story behind her. But because she does become excommunicated because of something, even though she's still a prodigy.
Yeah.
Even when she first joined the club, she was her own separate character, even though she is a Koto prodigy.
Yeah.
She was her own character separate from the club, but then she got absorbed and became the main character of that club. So if I have to say this, the club is the protagonist.
Yeah.
The antagonist is the doubt that everyone has towards this club.
Yeah, that makes it very apparent.
Yeah.
Even I will say, even in the second season, we're gonna start flipping here and there. But like even you can clearly tell in the second season that the doubt is the antagonist, because there are moments where a character is like, oh no, I messed up. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. And then all you see is like the darkness start to like crouch in on them, and you're like, no, you need to do better. You're doing a good job. And then like there's one moment. Correct me if I'm wrong. You already watched the end of season 1.
I watched the end of season 1 and I watched the very first episode of season 2.
All right, so you know at the end of season 1, you know during their whole performance, and it got to a point where you see everyone, you know, racing forward
to the light,
toward the light, and then you see Kurata still sitting in the dark, and he's like, what am I doing? He's like, I need to get back up, so if I can't stand by the decision I made. And I'm like, all right, that's good, because you know you're the president, you are the one who made the decision to have Chika come out and still perform with you.
Yes.
So kind of looks bad on you if you're the only one that's hanging back instead of going forward and doing what you love.
Yes, definitely. Oh my God, I feel like that's such a great way to just describe this anime. Now, I know that I've been giving a lot of praise, but I wish to bring an example. The downside to this anime is unfortunately the animation part. Now, as an animation major, I do spend a lot of time looking at animation, so this was one of the downsides for me, and probably one of the reasons why not a lot of people gave it much thought. It's such a good anime thematically and everything. And you do have very beautiful moments where I think it's like the Sakuga.
Sakuga.
Yeah, Sakuga.
Mainly came in, I feel like that mainly came in more
of the bombastic performances and stuff like that. But remember me and him had a private conversation about this when I was first watching it, and I watched this, and my initial thoughts was, oh, this is an anime that came out probably around early 2010s.
Yeah, that's the feel it gives off.
It gives me that feeling of, if this is early 2010s. For anybody that's watched Shugochara, Kata, as how, I don't know how some people like to pronounce it. Shugochara. Yeah. It came out late 2000s, early 2010s.
Yeah.
The anime did. The manga's been out forever though.
Yeah.
There is a specific feeling for anime around that time. The animation, not all that great. You watched it more for its charm than anything. This anime has charm, but the animation is slightly lacking.
Yeah.
Now,
but then again, this is coming from someone who isn't an animation guy like you.
So
I'm more on the music side.
With all of the anime that I called out, what do they all have in common?
Good animation, Sakuga, and a compelling story, I guess.
Kind of. So let's compare. So, okay, a good example. You've watched My Hero Academia season 4. I've seen season 3, which was before this, but still, I can still kind of compare it. Think about the animation style, and no, I'm not talking about art style. I'm talking about the animation style. From that compared to this. Would you still, with those two playing side by side, would you have told me that they came out during the same year?
Nope. Because it seems like not Slice of Life, Sound of Life came out way before My Hero did. So even if we had the side by side comparison, I still would have just been like, yeah, this one came out this year, this one came out this year. Sounds of Life looks like it would have came out way before My Hero would have came out.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying that it's a fact.
I don't know if that's the same way for you.
No, it is.
That's just like how I would,
that's how I would place it. And unfortunately, that's just the only downside that I can come up with it. It's not like a bad downside. This is a really good anime, but I'm sure the reason why it fell behind was just because of the animation studio.
It's not like what we would usually think. It's not Bones. It's not Mappa. It's not Cloverworks. And it's not any of like the heavy hitters. It's more underground. Yeah,
it's more underground. And even though it came out later, it just really has that 2010s feel.
Yeah.
But it's still a really, really good anime.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just sad that this did go under the radar because of its animation style.
I feel like if we got the chance to actually look at it, I mean, we're doing the episode now. I feel like back then, if we had looked at it, we would have been like, yo, we might want to do an episode on this way back then. But I mean, times have changed.
Times have changed, and it just went under the radar because of one. It did come out during a time where a lot of heavy hitters
were coming out too. Yeah,
and it did kind of with anime nowadays, how it's categorized by anime seasons. And what anime is coming out this season and stuff like that. I mean, I don't want to say it got lost because of that. It's just very unfortunate that the animation does not really match with what it is now and more mainstream anime.
No, I got you.
Even look at One Piece. If you look at look at how it became at the beginning. The animation style from this is more comparable to One Piece when it first came out. Where it's slightly choppy, but there's still some smooth movements. But you can kind of tell it has that early 2000s.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
But that's not a bad thing. Another one downside, but I see it more as a marketing tactic, and they're freaking smart for doing this, is so like I said, I've only watched season 1. Kind of gotten into season 2, not all the way through. So season 1 ends in such a way where he said it earlier, it's so unsatisfying.
You don't get your closure.
You don't. I really feel like first episode of season 2 is the closure of season 1.
Yep.
But it's season 2.
And then it just continues on from there, and you're like, wait a minute. Because usually in season 2, it's season 2, episode 1, da 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 da. No, it goes season 2, episode 14, and you're like, 14?
Well, I mean, My Hero Academia is doing the same thing.
Yeah, but at least you're able to know.
But okay, you know what? That also brings up another point. I'm sorry, because it's coming up on the fly for me. let's think of the seasons for My Hero Academia. They ended off in points where it's very satisfying for that season, and it kind of gives you like, okay, what to expect for next season.
Yeah.
The way season 1 for Koto... No,
Sounds of Life.
I'm not going to go with the Japanese pronunciation because I can't say it all that good either.
Sounds of Life.
For Sounds of Life. For Sounds of Life, the way it first ended, like I said, it's very unsatisfying.
I mean, maybe they were just like, all right, we can split it up into 2, so then you still have 13 episodes, I guess.
But My Hero Academia, one season of My Hero Academia is usually 24 or 25 episodes.
I don't know what the marketing team was thinking for that one.
Okay, so yeah, that's just another confusing thing for me. I'm not going to look too deeply into... Actually, I'm going to look entirely deeply into it.
In your own time, though.
On my own time. It's just, I don't know. I realize I'm the type of person who wants seasons to kind of make sense. Yeah. My Hero Academia seasons make sense to me. Sounds of Life's seasons don't really make all that sense to me. No. Maybe that's just because of the type of person I am.
Even though we are really, really tiny.
Even though we are really, really tiny.
Because, like, I guess now I'm just gonna jump straight into season 2.
Okay, yes, do that.
Like we said, season 2 picks up where season 1 left off, and then immediately, like, you just jump straight into season 2. You're like.
It replays a little bit of the like I'll tell it from my point of view. It replays a little bit of the performance at the end of season 1, and then you finally get the reactions of everybody.
Yeah.
So continue.
And then we leave the concert hall and everything, and then that's where Suzu, his name is Takanami, but I'm calling him Suzu. He straight up says, "You guys weren't expected to win. You guys did terrible in the first half. You guys did a lot better job in the second half. I didn't expect one of your teammates to, carry you through, but this just means you guys can get better." And when he said that, like, it hit me like a brick, because I was like, oh snap, this reminds me of when we were in marching band.
Yeah.
Because when we were in marching band, we did a performance and we thought we placed, we didn't, hearts were broken.
Yes.
And then we were just like, all right, we didn't do good. And then it didn't help the fact that we had to rewatch that same performance too.
Oh no.
And then we were like, all right, we now know what to do. We now know how to improve. And then then that following year, we did better. And we actually placed, getting number 1.
But so my question is, for season 2.
Oh yeah, season 2, we actually get more characters introduced. So we still have the people that we met before. So we got the all-girl school. We got Mario. There's a lot of drama that goes on in Mario.
Oh god.
But then we get reintroduced back to the Hozuki school, and turns out that there's this. You have the Grandmaster, who is Hozuki's mom, and then Hozuki's mom now has an apprentice, and it turns out to be the granddaughter of this other chick, and her name is Akira, or as the grandmother says, Akira.
Well, that's more Japanese.
I know. It was just, I don't know. My mind is flipping between two. I like saying Akira, and then my mind is like, you fool! It's Akira! And then I'm like, wait a minute, Akira? Kurisu? What?
Is this Persona? No, it's not.
I made that connection the second time through, and I'm like, it's a Persona all over again. Where's Ryuji?
But where does season 2 end?
Season 2 actually ends on a good note.
Okay.
Because with season 2, you actually get, hey, we're going to do this performance, but then it's like, not only are we doing this performance, we're bringing the Grandmaster to listen to the performance because she doesn't want to listen to it. She's like, that's my daughter, but I have no right to listen to her performance. And then Akira's grandmother is just slandering the club, and she's like, yeah, that club is nothing but a bunch of delinquents. They don't actually know how to play the koto. We need to destroy them. And then you're just like, lady, what's your damage? Like, what's going on here? And then So, Akira, she's like, you know what? Enough of this. We're doing the concert. She's like, Grandmaster, you're coming with. Grandmother, you're coming with too. If I have to drive you, I will. And she just throws him in the car and she just takes off to the performance.
Oh my god.
And, so they're actually performing and everything. And so Hozuki actually gets to see her mom, out in the audience. And so the way how it ends is the fact that everyone's like, oh snap, we actually have to find Hozuki's mom. Because they're like, well, we don't know what she looks like. And Hozuki's like, she was wearing a yukata. That's all she gives them. So everyone goes searching every which way. They finally find her. Well, actually, her mom finds Hozuki. And she's like, Hozuki? And then, Hozuki actually breaks down for once. And she was like, I loved your performance. She was like, your sound actually reached me for once. And she was like, I'm sorry. I never should have treated you the way I did. I never should have disowned you and everything. And I'm like, all right. And like, everyone's just happy. They're like, all right, cool. And then, well, the thing is that the all-girls school, they're like, they're like, yeah, we're going to nationals. We're number one. But when they don't place and they realize that it's, their school, not the all-girls school, but
the culture club that we're following.
Yeah. When they place the all-girls school, the one girl that likes Hozuki so much, she goes, she's asked the club, she's like, hey, you better win at nationals.
Okay, so
and she's like,
we're going off into the nationals, I see.
And so she's like, hey, you better win nationals. You're the ones that are representing Japan.
Okay.
And so they're like, oh yeah, you bet we will. Because they're like, yeah, we are the ones who are representing everyone who was here today.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, that's a good way to end it.
All right, cool. Okay, so this does lead off to like there should be a season.
There should be a season 3.
All right, cool.
There's a lot of drama that happens, and like Hozuki has feelings for. Supposedly, Hozuki has feelings for Chico.
That's always been there. That's always been there.
And then you got Kurisu, who has feelings for Karasa.
I've seen that too.
She's like, there's the one moment where like she has feelings for him, and she's like, all right. And then Karasa's like, hey, are you feeling okay? And then she just backs up to the wall. And she goes, yep, everything's hunky-dory. Let's get to practice. And I'm like,
so
he's like, okay. And then, she's asking Karasa, during the school festival. And she's like, hey, do you like the previous club president? The one who...
Wait, no. Let's not go too deep into this.
I only want to say this one part, though.
Okay.
Because, he's, talking to, Kurisu, he's like, well, yeah, but it's more of, like, admiration. I don't actually have, like... It's more admiration than relationship, than romantic. And Kurisu just hits her head on the pole, and she's like... Because, like, she just looks at him, and then she just smiles. And then she goes, okay. And then... She looks at the pole and she just hits her head on the pole, and then she goes, look, brain, we talked about this. Keep your feelings in check. And you just see Karate, he goes, are you alright?
Oh my god.
And I'm just like, what the heck? You have feelings for someone, but you're just like, we talked about, you're over here talking to your brain. We got feelings, brain.
Oh my god. So okay, I'm definitely gonna have to watch season 2 on my own time to really like see how it all goes.
Yeah.
So before we end off, because it is coming close to that time, because I did take up a lot of time, unfortunately. I want to end this off on a more funnier note. So I'm gonna say what was on my mind the entire time I was watching this anime. And you can say something similar to it, or you'd be like, yep, you know what? I felt that.
No.
So the entire time I was watching this anime, my one thought was, Sounds of Life, what's your damage?
Right? It's like every character, you're like, all right, what's your damage? You sit there and see Suzu, what's your damage,
like,
dude?
every person that is connected to the club in some way, I don't know why, every single person... It doesn't have to be to our Koto club. It can be to anybody else's Koto club.
The one dude over here on the ground, he's like, I'm listening to the wind.
Like me. Right now, I only know him from season 1 going into season 2 at the very beginning. My one thought only of him is, what's your damage, kid? Like, that is forever my thoughts with every person playing the Koto. Maybe the Koto just brings about depressed people. I don't know. Maybe it's just like, the Koto is his possessed instrument. It's just kind of like, I'm going to find the most broken people and make them feel better.
Yeah.
The Koto is literally a fairy.
The next time we have an arc, it's just gonna be like, what you doing? Well, you're trying to play the Koto.
What's your
depressed?
I'm like, now that is going to be the singular freaking sign that you are a broken man.
Me, next time you walk into the studio.
I'm like, oh, well, yep. What's your damage, kid? Now,
flashback, please.
Every time I go to watch any single anime, if there is somebody playing the Koto, boom, what's your damage, kid? But yeah, I just wanted to say that out loud. Like, I feel like that's what this anime also is. That should be its subtitle, not just Sounds of Life. Sounds of Life, colon, what's your damage, kid?
Oh, God.
I just wanted to end off that.
So, one, because I know we're putting this up on YouTube.
Yes.
I want you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. We have to start asking that now.
Yes.
What do you think they should comment?
What's your damage, kid? No. If you do end up watching this anime, tell us what you think about it, because we're genuinely very curious, because I feel like this anime is not watched enough, or it's not spoken about enough.
Right.
So we want to know what other people's opinions on it is.
Yeah.
And
let us know if you want to try the Koto.
Let us know if you want to try the Koto. I know I do.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
If only I could be rich enough to buy it, though.
Right?
Because not only does it have to be built, it has to be shipped from Japan.
Yeah.
It's one of those instruments where it's just Japanese only.
Right?
Much like a lot of things in Japan, it's Japanese only. But thank you all for listening.
We hope you've enjoyed your visit to
the Underground Geek Shack. See you guys.